The former UFC heavyweight Rob Brockton will be spending the next 8.5 years in prison for his role in a drug ring that involved millions in cash and cocaine. Rob was arrested in connection with a criminal ring, run by brothers Alan and John Tobin, who reportedly supplied huge amounts of drugs to various gangs around England. While their primary business was cocaine, the drug ring also dealt with heroin, cannabis, and ketamine. Erwin Rivera, also known as the Beast, remains in the Palm Beach County Jail on 2 counts of premeditated attempted murder. This UFC fighter was accused of stabbing his 2 sisters as they were sleeping in a spare bedroom at his apartment, because a higher power told him to do so. John Koppenhaver used to compete in the UFC and Bellator before the 2014 incident in which he delivered a violent beating on the former porn star Christy Mack and her boyfriend. Sexual assault, kidnapping, and coercion were among the 29 counts for which he was found guilty. He was handed life in prison with a chance of parole after 36 years served. Jason Miller more than lived up to his nickname during the course of his 35-fight career. However, Miller appears to have been unable to let go of his outrageous personality that saw him become a star of the UFC. Miller was sentenced to 364 days in jail after pledging guilty to a vandalism charge. This marks a culmination of series of dubious life choices Miller has made post-UFC, having been involved in numerous arrests and charges. Herms Franca is a former WEC lightweight champion and former UFC lightweight title challenger. He holds notable wins over several MMA veterans. Franca turned himself into the Clackamas County authorities in mid-May 2011 and was charged with multiple sexual battery charges. He pled guilty to 1 count of attempted unlawful penetration and was sentenced to 42 months in a state prison. Lee Murray is a former MMA fighter, having competed in the UFC and Cage Rage promotions. He is best known for his lost fight against Anderson Silva. Lee is a lifelong criminal, being involved in the UK drug trafficking scene, but the biggest crime of Murray's life is the Securitas Depot robbery. In February 2006, Murray and his accomplices kidnapped the manager of the Securitas Depot along with his wife and son and stole around $92 million, the biggest robbery in history. A few months later, the police caught him in Morocco, where he is currently serving a 25-year-old prison sentence. Cody East failed miserably in the UFC, going 0-2 with both losses. East was charged of criminal behavior, rape on minor-age girls, and domestic violence. Dmitry Sosnovsky, an undefeated former UFC heavyweight, has been sentenced for 8.5 years in a maximum security prison after being found guilty of kidnapping and extorting a businessman from Moscow. Former UFC fighter Paul Kelly has been sentenced to 13 years in prison after he was convicted of running a drug ring in England. He was supplying heroin to drug dealers. At UFC 258, Ian Heinisch went up against the UFC veteran Kelvin Gastelum, but before that he was a state champ wrestler who got busted selling ecstasy, fled to Europe where he was dealing coke hidden in balloons up his ass, went to prison in Greece, was captain of prison kickboxing team and got sent to Rickers. If you want to watch more amazing MMA videos, click on the right.